When we talk about tips for getting your home ready to sell, you're probably used to hearing the same old. Declutter, clean your house, stage your house. So today I want to talk about some things in preparation of putting your home on the market that you may not have thought about. Number one, you want to consider getting a pre-listing home inspection. And so for a lot of my listings that are on the higher end of the spectrum as far as list price, this is something that I offer as part of my listing service is we get a home inspection done before we go on the market. And there's a couple of reasons for doing that. Number one, it lets the seller know any potential problems that are going to exist. So they can disclose those to buyers and they can also choose to repair those before we go on the market. They have that home inspection. We can put it out on the kitchen island, so to speak, and let potential buyers look through it in the hopes that they will just go off the information from our home inspection and waive their own. So there's a lot of good reasons for getting a home inspection before you actually go on the market. The second is a lot of people think staging involves hiring a professional to come in and they're going to bring all new furniture in your house. And that's not necessarily what staging means. You can use your own furniture to stage your home. You may have a third bedroom that you don't use because your kids are out of the house or whatever. And so you could stage that as an office. And then people are like, oh, that home had an office. You may not have a primary bedroom. If you own an older home, a lot of times you had 3 bedrooms and a hallway bath and that was it. You can have one room that looks more like the primary because it's the bigger. If you've got a king size bed and you can't walk around the bed on both sides, then you probably want to downsize that to a queen size bed because it's going to make the room appear more spacious. So staging isn't always hiring a professional to come in, get everything out of your house, bring in all new furniture. It's using common sense to arrange the rooms in your home to put them in their best light and their best use. The third thing, and I will say this, I have said this before, use professional photos. Now, as the seller, it's not your job to hire the photographer. It's not your job to pay for those photos. But it is your job to find out when you're interviewing agents, does your agent use a professional photographer? And if their answer is no, then you need to look for a different agent. This is 2023, and there's no excuse for not using a professional photographer. I can have a professional come out to your home and do the photos for less than $200. If an agent can't afford $200, what else are they going to skimp on when they're putting your home on the market? Item number 4 is you have to keep your home show ready. A lot of people will get their home clean, decluttered, staged, looking great for the photos. And then after that, they go back to their normal way of life. And if the home doesn't sell quickly, it's not always show ready. And I get when you have pets, when you have children, keeping a home show ready can be difficult. But you want to keep it show ready at all times until you go under contract. One of the things that I like to do when I'm listing a home that has children is I incorporate a children's listing agreement in with the paperwork that I have the adults sign. And so basically, based on the age level of the child, I will give them 2 or 3 chores, responsibilities, whatever you want to call it, that when they have a showing on the house, that child is responsible for doing those things. Obviously, number 1 is going to be to keep the toys picked up in their bedroom, to keep the clothes in the closet in their bedroom. And then usually I'll give them make sure that the bathroom countertop is cleaned off or turn all the lights on before you leave for the showing. Something that gives that child ownership and makes them a part of the process. And the bottom of the agreement that they sign with me says, when Amy Schrader closes on our house, if my mom and dad agree that I did the following to help get our home sold, Amy Schrader will give me, and depending on their age, again, it's either going to be $50 or $100, If you've got a 6-year-old, $50 is like a gazillion dollars to them. But if you have a teenager, they do have a little more understanding of money. So I will up it to about $100. And if you're a teenager, then the responsibilities on that listing agreement are going to be a little bit more than keeping your room picked up. But the parents love it because it gets the children involved in the process. And the kids love it when they go to closing and they get a crisp $50 or $100 bill from Miss Amy. They love it. And so that's just been something that's worked really well for me that I've used with families that have children. So keeping your home show ready so that way if somebody is driving by and wants to show it within 30 minutes, you're not scrambling trying to get everything picked up. Number 5 is be flexible. Selling your home is a stressful process, but it's important to be flexible and open to negotiation. One thing I can tell you, the first offer you get on a home is usually going to be the best offer you get on that home. And a lot of times the first offer you get can be a lowball offer on your home. And people are like, well, how is that the best offer? You have to be willing to negotiate. So an offer comes in, if you reject it and don't even try to counter and work something out with them, you may never get another offer again on that property and you let a buyer walk away. So you can't take it personal and you have to understand it's all about negotiation. It's not where you start, it's where you finish that matters. I will tell you the story. I listed a home on the lake. This has been, time flies, probably 6 or 7 years ago. But I listed a home on the lake that had been listed with a previous agent for, I think, like a year and hadn't sold. And so we priced it, I'm going to say it was like $260,000. It was a small home on a cove. And hadn't been on the market for 3 hours. And we got a call from a cash buyer who offered him $230,000 for the house. And my sellers were so offended. Absolutely not. They could not take that. Not at all. We didn't even want to counter the guy. We just went on the market. They weren't open to that. Okay. So I go back and tell the buyer that, and he moves on. He buys another piece of property. So about 4 months later, we sold their home for $5,000 less than that first offer that came in. And when I went to meet with my sellers to get the paperwork signed, I didn't bring it up. I'm not about, rubbing in the wound or anything. But the wife brought it up and she said, you brought us an offer within 3 hours of going on the market that was more than what we're selling it for now. She said, we're kicking ourselves that we didn't take that offer or at least try to work something out with that buyer. And I said, I get it. I said, it happens a lot more than you would think because you took it personal. And it was never personal. It was just business. But it happens all the time. So when you do get a lowball offer in, don't get mad at your agent. Don't get upset. And don't let your emotions cloud your judgment and your logic. Make a counter offer and see what you can get that buyer to come up to. So if you are looking to sell your home, you need an agent who can give you great advice and help you get the most money for your home in the least amount of time. Send me a DM and let's talk.